Is this the Xbox Portable we dreamed about 10 years ago? It's pretty darn close. Many years ago, there were rumors floating around about an Xbox Portable that Microsoft was working on, a device that you could, well, carry around and play Xbox games. While we don't have that actual device, and Microsoft has clearly moved away from that model, we pretty much have the absolute next best thing. And it comes to you in the form of this guy right here. I have a rich history of mispronouncing names, but this is the Razer Kishi, I believe, or Kishi, something like that. Either way, here's what it is. It takes your phone, it straps two Joy-Con-like things to the side, allows you to play the xCloud, and it's pretty darn good. So here's some, B-roll footage while we walk through what this device is. First things up, you got to get it out of the box. You really, really do. And it's pretty attractive packaging. Nothing that's going to blow your mind by any capacity, but it's well put together. You got a nice little hangy hook up top, and you get some Game Pass too. If you aren't already signed up, you're going to get 14 days of Ultimate included. But here you go. You pull it out of the box, and thankfully it has some stickers that need to be peeled off, but they do kind of tell you how to actually operate this thing, because it can get a little mangly jangly, which you'll see here in a second. Mangly jangly is a technical term, by the way. And you can see here, it's just some plastic. It's got some good buttons there, the Xbox buttons, the joysticks, and a little black plastic piece on the back that keeps things nice and compact. The key here with that is that it keeps it nice and compact so you can toss it into a bag, and it's really, really easy to use. And it's got some good buttons. I mean, it has all the Xbox stuff that you would expect from a device that's well designed to play xCloud. So getting that sticker off here, you can see that USB Type-C port, which is really, really crucial because this device does not use Bluetooth. It's not a Bluetooth controller connector. It actually connects into the USB-C port on your phone, so make sure it has that, otherwise it's not going to be compatible, and it reduces the latency. There's no Bluetooth lag, which is key here. So you pop this thing apart, which you'll see here, which was a little bit difficult to do while you're holding a camera in front of your face, but once you get it popped apart, it works quite well, and it's very easy to put back together, which I'll show you later. But you can see the strap here, and it's got a spring mechanism, and you put your phone down in there into that USB-C port, and then it cradles it quite well, and it's pretty darn stable. Like, there's some flax, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty solid once your phone gets down into that device. Now, one thing I do want to point out, see that black piece of plastic that kind of keeps things all clipped together? This isn't a major issue, but if your phone is like mine, which is a OnePlus 6, sort of a middle of the road, slightly older phone at this point that has a fingerprint reader on the back, it does block that. So just keep that in mind if you really have to use the fingerprint reader. But you can see you just slot it in that USB-C slot and it snuggles up nicely, giving you a pretty good feel. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing too crazy complex about it. There you go. You can see me blocking that sensor as I was trying to actually authenticate. So then once you get it all set up, you do want to download the Razer specific app for this device. It just makes things a little bit better. But once you have it set up, you can see here, you can just fire up game streaming. And it takes, if you're familiar with game streaming, it does take a little bit of time. You can see here, I can use the joysticks to get set up. One thing I will point out is the joystick on the right side isn't the most ergonomic setup, just the way it is. It's not terrible. It's not like going to ruin the experience, but it's just not as good as, say, using a traditional Xbox controller. Just keep that in mind. The buttons overall, which we'll talk about here in a second, aren't as tactile as I might like, but all the stuff is there, including that USB Type-C port right there, which is used for pass-through charging, which is quite handy. That, let's say you're sitting on the back of a plane and you need to charge your phone, but you also want to be gaming. Well, I guess xCloud gaming on a plane would be pretty interesting in itself. Either way, you can plug it in and keep charging while you're still gaming. Now, I do like to point out that xCloud in itself is better at single player experiences. Just keep that in mind. Yes, you can absolutely play Halo multiplayer. There are videos on this channel of me playing Halo multiplayer on xCloud, and it does work. But my personal recommendation is that use xCloud for those first gaming experiences, not multiplayer, like first person, that type of stuff. Single player campaigns, if I could get my terminology correct, is what you want to use xCloud for. And Ori is a fantastic example of this. Now, again, you're going to see some horrible gameplay coming up here from me because I am trying to look through the camera as I'm looking at this to make sure that you notice things are nice and centered. You can actually see my head right there as I'm looking down at the camera. waiting for Ori to load, and it's actually loading some content that I have previously, but it is, it's xCloud. It takes a second. Now, you'll notice right now that there's not really any Bluetooth latency lag, like I mentioned previously, because it doesn't use Bluetooth. That is one of the big benefits here. While Bluetooth connected devices they're not terrible, there's definitely a little bit more latency introduced because it's wireless. That's just the nature of it. Now, because this device is not using Bluetooth, it's just that much better. And in Ori explicitly, like you can look here, like it's pretty instantaneous. And I bet you could give this exact device to a lot of different people and very few of them would be able to know that it's actually not playing locally. It is really well done in this type of a setup. Ori is, again, like the perfect example. It's kind of like how Microsoft uses Forza as always like the high-end graphical experience. Ori should be right up there as some of the best xCloud experiences. But overall, you can see like it does work really, really well. And this looks like a Nintendo Switch, but it's playing xCloud games, or cloud gaming as Microsoft would like me to tell you. And overall, the controller is really, really well done. The best way I can describe this device is the Microsoft Elite controller, but for xCloud. And the reason why I say that is the Elite controller from Microsoft is really expensive. This device will set you back $100. That is not cheap. I mean, that is a premium experience that you are buying into. But the way I would phrase it is, if you're going to be doing a lot of xCloud gaming, this is the controller you're going to want to use. I've used a couple different devices since xCloud has been around, and I've used a lot of different clips, but this is the one to me that was like, this kind of takes it to a different experience here. And just another little quick close-up of the device as we sort of round things out. But you can see, again, the stretchiness of it. So it should fit, I would think, the vast majority of phones. And then you'll see me struggle a bit here to get it clipped back together once I realize the proper way to do it is to flip it over and approach it from the backside. And then you can see it just snaps right back together. And then you can just toss that in your bag and life will be good. And so what I'm trying to tell you here is that this device it's good. This is going to be my preferred way to be playing xCloud going forward. And like I said, I do have clips like this that I have played previously with xCloud, but this just takes it to a different level. And as long as you are comfortable paying that $100 to get in for this type of experience, you'll be quite happy. And you got to evaluate whether or not that is worth it to you. For right now, like if you're playing at home and you just want to sit on the couch, it's really good, but it's going to excel when you're out on the road because that compact design works so much better than trying to put something like this into your backpack or wherever. So I think Razer has done a wonderful job. Obviously, we have to understand the test of time, right? How is there going to be any joystick drift? Is there going to be any other issues? We don't quite know. The other thing too that I would give some negative feedback on is the buttons. The buttons feel a little mushy, if you will. Like they're not. I use a mechanical keyboard because I like that really hard tactile kind of snapping feeling. You definitely don't get that here with the A, Y, X, and B buttons. You do get it though and you can probably hear that with pressing the joysticks down. And so overall, I really do like this. I want that to be known, but it's not perfect. It's a little bit more expensive. The controllers and the bumper buttons aren't the most tactile, and same with these. But again, for what's available today, this is probably the best way to play xCloud. And I say that genuinely because I use this thing, no joke, about 4 hours since I've gotten it. Now, typically I would wait like a couple weeks to do a full and proper review, but this device is relatively simple. It's just two effectively Joy-Cons strapped to a phone screen, integrated with xCloud and the Xbox ecosystem. And for that, I applaud Razer. They have done a good job. They've thought outside the box, and they really have thought through quite a few things, including this back plastic piece. While it might kind of seem gimmicky to have it on the back, it really kind of makes the experience just a little bit better when you're trying to put things together, and it does help hold the phone in place. So overall, would I buy this device? I would buy this device if I plan on playing xCloud more than a couple hours a week, right? This setup for really super casual gaming is perfectly fine. If I was going to be serious about xCloud gaming, this is a no-brainer.